the question we want to answer today, okay, before we finish our conversation, we always speak to young wannabe entrepreneurs. So we need to tell someone young, how do I start a company, anything real estate related or a real estate company? And the second question is, should they invest for people who have the means? Should it be commercial? Should it be residential? Should they do fractional real estate? So we want the answer primarily to the question, I'm young, I'm 20 years old, I want to start a real estate company. How do I go about it? If we were to start the journey of real estate companies, at some point it used to work in the manner that you would design a certain project. You would go to a bunch of people. They would give you money and they would buy. And with that, you would execute the project. When did that happen up until?
That's happening even now. See, that's how
now
it's
there are
all.
rules where you need to have acquired the land, done ABC before you sell, right?
Yes. See, the thing is, you're right to a certain extent. That's why everything went wrong in real estate also, when people probably thought they had the land, they thought that they had the approval, or they thought that they can get the approval. And then they went to a bunch of people and said, listen, I've got this land, I've got this approval, I'm putting up this building. And then, then everything became a nightmare, everything went wrong. That's where the confidence also was lost among people of real estate, and when we were all looked at as like those big bad guys. But now with RERA in place, that's how another factor that has really changed the market is that because there's a confidence now. As I said, there's that much more. It's now completely transparent. You have to have everything in place. Of course, the land first and then the approvals most importantly. Then you log in and get your RERA number. That is very cumbersome. So what it has done is it has consolidated the number of players itself. And I always say that the people refer as big players, small players. I definitely don't subscribe to that. It can be even the smallest of the player doing one single project. If you do it well, do it professionally, do it sincerely, you can succeed. It's not that you can't succeed. Okay, in the olden days, you could just, if you did it sincerely and said, okay, I've got this land, I'm going to get this approval, I've already got it, I'm pre-selling. Even today we do the same thing, we do pre-selling. The only difference is today you do it with all approvals, everything in place, so there's nothing left for things to go wrong, except that you are midway of a project, somebody files a litigation against you for no reason or whatsoever. That is something that you can't predict. That can happen to anybody, anytime, anywhere. But those are like very small cases. But if somebody really wants to get into real estate, is a youngster, yes, you have to learn to start small. You have to learn to take the baby steps first. You see, if I have to come to your either I take the lift, it's not possible. If you have to climb the steps one by one, reach floor by floor, reach the top. You just can't go to the top from bottom to, it's not that easy. You have to work hard, you have to work for it. And if you've done some work, if you've got the confidence, you've produced it once, done it second time, done it third time, then there's nothing stopping you. I think that's how everybody started.
Yeah, I think everybody started that way. And I think the first one is always the hardest because you don't have an established brand. People don't know if everything is proper.
They don't know who you are.
They don't know who you are. But I think now, again, given that if you're RERA approved, that means most of the sanctions are in place and everything.
Not all the sanctions are in place.
All are in place. So then you can't start your project without getting your RERA
So if I'm
approval.
20 and I've managed to borrow 10 crores from a bank. I want to start a real estate company. What do I do next?
I don't know. Real estate also is now so broad and there's just so many levels.
Can you define how broad? How big is the real estate sector in India?
Oh, I don't know the exact.
It's supposed to be $1 trillion by 2030.
If I look at
So say about 650 billion now.
Yeah, 1 trillion. It should be 1 trillion by 2030.
Look at the bottom of the pyramid, right? There are obviously you can just do land aggregation as your sole part within real estate. You can be a full stack developer that is, doing everything. You can be just in the construction contracting business.
You can be just a broker.
You can be just a broker. You can be just doing property management. You can build prop tech on top of it. You can do, online brokerage, which is now moving in that direction. So
What should I do? I have 10 crores I borrowed from a bank. We established that the real estate market is 600 billion in total. Residential is about 45%. Commercial is 10. Plotting is 12. And mixed and others are 30%. I want to deploy my money and start a business. Give me 1, 2, 3 in the real estate world. What should I do? Should I be a broker? Should I be a...
See, you need to learn the business first.
yeah, I would say
So the
where's your
only
right
way to
win?
learn the business is dabble in property, buy property, sell
Is that
property.
how I should start? Buy and sell property?
Yeah, I think that way you'll get to know the nuances. You'll get to know how to read a contract. You'll get to know
I
who
would
to trust,
look at
who
an
not to
angle where
trust.
there's firstly not enough players. There's not all these big guys
so
in it,
let-
and then
yeah.
find an angle in there which.
No, otherwise simple. Take a small property, buy a small plot. Either get into a JD with a small landowner who trusts you, pick up that plot and concentrate on that one development, design it well and price it correctly, sell it to your bunch of customers. That will be your first beginning point. Once you've done that and you get the confidence and the customers get confidence in you, you move to the next. You see now, a lot of these smaller guys did start this way. Brokers started doing development. But what happened is, greed got better than them. They had so much cash flow, one led to the other, to the other, to the other. There was no RERA also that time. And then another big problem was, don't follow the law. I call it simply, my building, my law, no building by law. On a small plot, we can build X, you do X into plus something, one more floor extra, whatever else. So that actually got
So you
a
would
lot of them
suggest
into
for me
trouble.
to start entering
Start
this
with
industry,
all
find
your
a small
approvals
plot,
in place,
get approvals,
follow all the
build
rules.
something and sell.
Exactly. Do
Correct.
it once, do it properly. Maybe your 10 crores will give you a couple of crores. That couple of crores, you again reinvest it back. It will slowly grow. It won't grow overnight. But what it does is, what will grow in you is your confidence and your brand. Slowly you'll build your brand.
And you would suggest I do a JD versus
JD
buying
is the
land.
best. JD is the best. Then only thing in a JD, what you need to do is you need to know how to manage people. If you're able to know how to handle your landlord, his expectations, or somebody who's known to you, that's a good thing. But if you buy, yes, all the problems also yours, all the benefits also yours. But then the amount of money that you require will be much, much more. Probably you can't really start with 10 crores. That's too small an amount today.
But if I want to start a real estate project afresh, will a bank lend to me to do this?
Not to buy land.
Not to buy land.
But for construction, they'll give you.
But if I find a JD partner who gives the land, then they'll lend money.
Yes, for the construction, they do lend money.
Yeah.
So I have a different perspective in terms of we need to know your risk appetite. I don't think there's a one size fits all, right? Like if you ask me, land aggregation has the highest risk, but also the highest reward. The people who buy land early, hold on to it, that's also a different business model.
No, but I'm trying to build an active job.
So
yeah. For active job, I would say, like if I had that 10 crores, I would also look to do a JDA with somebody who already has expensive land, maybe in a small CBD property. You can use your 10 crores as the equity you put in and then get the balance as debt from a bank to do the construction financing. And then hopefully once you get your approval, start selling to start funding the rest of the project.
You run the REAP program. Wouldn't you want me to invest in some prop tech company and try to build that
I
instead?
would say that my angle would be more of an operating entity within real estate, maybe less of a development entity because it's so competitive and so murky also at the lower level to get into. So things around maybe energy, things around
Energy for real estate?
For real estate.
Elaborate.
Right?
What would I do?
See,
Talk
I
about
think
solar.
that 30% of all emissions is really from real estate.
Second
right?
largest emitter.
Yeah, it's the second largest emitter. And if we need a transition as a
But
company.
that's more from real estate construction, not the
No,
living.
I mean, yeah, but also operating wise, there's a lot of consumption that happens, right? When physical people are using a building, whether it's residential or commercial, there's a lot of activity that happens,
Yeah.
waste, solar,
think-
the need for energy.
I think the Prime Minister said 150,000 homes with solar roof.
Yeah.
But in a city like Bangalore, like I live in this apartment, I don't have a roof.
Yeah. But
No, but you have your terrace, right? That can be used to power all
these
the common
apartments
area
have-
light.
see, there are many things. It doesn't
But
mean
how is that a business?
it doesn't mean just the generation. It can be
No, what he's
the
talking
management.
about
You
is
can build
the real
technology
estate itself,
around
not
it.
the ancillary stuff.
Yeah.
Right. You can, I mean, doing solar and building solar parks is also real estate,
In a
to a
way,
large
yeah.
extent. I mean, it is real estate, in fact. You buy land, you have to build
But
on
the
it, you have
yields
to
in that have
monetize it.
come down to like 13-14% today. Like if I were to start off with X amount of capital, even if I do a PPP and earn, say, best case scenario, 13-14% on a solar farm, it doesn't
Yeah.
cut it for me. I want to build a career in this.
Yeah,
See,
but
with
it
low-
depends now, like with, and that's why I said operating entity, because I feel like 10 crores is too small, right? Whether building
No, he
technology.
can start.
Forget operating entity.
Yeah.
Tell me broker,
So
tell me something in
brokerage
tech.
is lowest risk.
Brokers, you don't need 10 crores.
Yeah,
You just
brokerage-
need.
But can I add
is
some
lowest
technology there? Because why do I pay 2% when I'm buying and somebody pays 2% when they're selling? It seems unrealistic that would be the price after all this
But
price
people are
discovery
doing that. There are
mechanism.
many
No, this is what
brokerages.
he mentioned, Karan mentioned, is a lot of brokers now have gone into tech. Now the conventional brokers are sort of become dinosaurs. All of them have used tech. All of them are sort of going on to different technologies where they are able to generate inquiries from customers, answer those queries, hire a whole lot of people, young kids who can go online, get the booking forms and actually popularize the product in a much larger platform. And that is what is happening, because the volumes that are happening today, the conventional agent probably today what he's doing, he or she is doing is only the bringing a land to the developer and doing a land transaction. But the volumes that come today from a broker where we pay our 2%, and I think in our company, at least I know that for sure, it's 50% of it is done through brokers, because they become my selling arm and they are using only technologies, and all new names are there. No one single old name in the market that is there. And the youngsters are doing it. So that is one thing where brokerage happens. So brokerage is the easiest business. The only investment again is in technology. But if you want to become a developer per se,
No,
my
Uncle,
thing
I'm not saying developer. I'm saying I have this much money. I want to have
Some-
a return on the money, anything real estate. So if you tell
Anything
me
real
rent an
estate,
office space
but
and make it co-working, I can do that also.
No, are you saying you want the highest return, or are you saying you want to create a business?
Create a
Because
brand.
Tell
wanting
me
the
one for
highest
both.
return, I'll tell you, highest return is, if you ask me, you take that 10 crores, invest in land, do some plotted development, develop it yourself and sell it. I think you'll get the highest return. The next highest return would probably be with doing a JDA, find somebody who wants to develop the land, but why will they trust you if it's your first project? That you have to have the credibility and the sales pitch to convince them. The third, less riskiest and probably one with least capital required, is a brokerage firm. But then I don't think you will get your 2%, but is your network good enough to connect the two people? And it's a very, very competitive space, not only online.
What about something REAP related?
So REAP is, in the end, it's technology, right? And I look at technology as an enabler. So there are so many marketplaces that come up, right? We've seen our housing.com, Magic Bricks, so many of them are now No Broker, which has become a unicorn. But it's a very, very competitive space. Like we see at least like 50 to 60 companies that apply in this space per batch. So what will separate you from the rest? Are your algorithms so phenomenal? Hardly anybody is able to make a dent. They can make money, they can make a profit, they can be unit economic positive. But are you going to I don't know how many of them I would bet on to become the next unicorn.
One REAP company that you would put your money on if you had to do it all over again today?
So we did. So we've seen some good success in a couple of them, which again, one
best,
was
favorite.
Today I will say Light Store.
What do they do?
That's Kishore.
Mahindran has invested, Axel has invested in them. So it's for retail. It's It's basically leasing a retail space, and it's for D2C. Basically, it's for D2C brands
This is
to
Raghunandan's.
come online. Online brands to go offline and to check the market space. So what they do is typical retail leases are like 9 years, 6 years. They take the space for 3 years or so, and then they give it out to brands for say 3 months at a time, and they
Can I say
churn around the
it's a
space
WeWork
48
for
hours.
retail.
Say the name again, they'll get a lot of traction after this.
I need to get traction. Light store.
Right.
So yeah, so they've been seeing very good traction. It's a brand it's a concept I didn't think would see the kind of success that it did. So it actually started with these two founders from Reap, and then Raghu also joined them later.
Okay.
But then I think that hardly any disruption is being seen in retail right now. So this is the first of its kind. And I think they have the ability to scale up pretty fast.
And if I were to be starting a new business, they say the split today of sales in housing, affordable is 27%, mid-premium is 30%, and luxury is above 41%. Where should I focus?
I think that number 41% luxury is slightly wrong.
That's a recent number. I think I saw this, the Knight Frank report, I think
I
that
don't know,
you saw.
somewhere it's a little lopsided
Yeah.
because somehow some of these reports,
This
I
is
don't
the
believe
first
them.
half year of 24.
Whatever it is,
Yeah.
because that could be a little skewed. I would say luxury will always be in that 15-20%. He can vouch for it. Then this mid segment will be that 50%. And the balance will be
So,
below
Uncle, it's
that.
how they've defined it. I think in that report they've said
Luxury
over
is
1
1
crore.
crore, yeah.
1 crore. So
If luxury is
then-
1 crore, then everything is mid
Yeah.
segment. So you see,
Luxury
that's
is
why they
up
said very
1 crore
clearly
and
what
mid
you're saying.
they've
is-
It's over
50 lakh
1
to 1
crore.
crore.
That's why it's showing. They've
focus
skewed
on
it.
I didn't see that
Top of the
They've
report.
put 0 to 50 as low and 50 to 1 crore as mid and 1.
Because now tell me, where in your company
Yeah.
itself do you get anything less than 1 crore?
Yeah, I mean, so if we talk about luxury, or at least the way builders do it, and Uncle, you can let me know. But the way we define it is above 3 crores is probably
Luxury.
Between 1.2 crores to 3 crores is upper mid
I
segment.
would say we'll say 75 lakhs to 1 and 2
Yeah,
crores.
and mid segment is actually 90 lakhs to 1.2 crores. That's how we define it. And it's very hard to do so-called affordable housing. Affordable housing is defined at some 45 lakhs plus everything comes up to almost 60 lakhs. With the way land prices are going, it's really hard to do affordable housing. I think in that same report, it'll show that number of
I don't even know if
affordable
we'll
housing
get, like,
homes will
actual
have
numbers
dropped
for
by
that
50%.
segment.
No,
Because
actually,
it'll be
it
so
should not go
unorganized.
on price. It should go on the size of the house. So I would take it as, say, 45 square meter house or 1,000 square meter house or 100 square meter house. So it just
in
depends
Bombay,
on
you
that.
could pay for 10 square meter house also the same
Yeah,
price.
so it depends because the price can always keep changing. So I always base it on the size of the house. And then, of course, it's the overall affordability in terms of the ticket size. If you ask me, what is the fastest selling, what is evergreen, is that 75 lakhs to maximum going up to a 2 crore. It'll get lapped up within no time. Then after that, you move up the bracket, you are going to between, say, 2 crores to 5 crores. It's a little more difficult. Then above that is for people like Nikhil, Kamath.
So your question is, I think the safest
Never
bet...
buy those.
That's what I'm saying. He'll go to that 50, 60 crore wala.
He's so enlightened that he's past that also. He's like past the bikes.
Yeah.
Your safest bet is that 75 lakhs to 1 crore.
Yeah.
That's so-called mid-segment for us.